I've always been known as the laziest man in my village. No one expected much from me, and truth be told, neither did I. Work seemed like a punishment I wasn't willing to suffer. Day after day, I searched for ways to survive without lifting a finger. I figured life owed me something. One morning, my stomach growled louder than ever. I wandered into the countryside, half dreaming of food falling from the sky. That's when I saw it, a tree full of shiny red apples. My mouth watered. Temptation got the best of me. I reached out to steal one. The moment my fingers touched the apple's skin, I heard a loud shout. A furious farmer came running from behind the trees, wielding a thick stick in one hand. My heart skipped a beat and panic surged through me. Without thinking, I turned and bolted. Branches scraped my arms as I tore through the bushes. I didn't care where I was going, I just needed to get away. Behind me, the farmer's angry footsteps grew fainter. I kept running until I reached the edge of a dark, dense forest. I didn't stop to catch my breath, I kept moving forward. Inside the forest, it was quiet. Too quiet. The trees blocked most of the sunlight, casting strange shadows across the ground. Every snap of a twig made me flinch. But then something caught my eye. Just a few feet away, an old wolf lay resting near a tree trunk. What struck me wasn't its size or eyes, it was its legs, or rather, the lack of them. The poor creature had only 2 legs. My first thought was that it wouldn't last long out here. How did it hunt? How did it escape danger? How was it even still alive? Curiosity got the best of me. I hid behind a tree and watched. The wolf didn't look sad or scared. It crawled around slowly, even playfully, despite its crippled body. It was surviving, somehow. I felt a strange pull in my chest, something between pity and fascination. But then the air around me changed. The birds flew off. The ground seemed to tremble slightly. That's when I saw it. A lion, majestic and terrifying, emerged from the trees. My breath caught in my throat. I froze. The lion had something in its mouth, a fresh chunk of meat, and it was heading straight for the wolf. My instincts kicked in. I climbed up a nearby tree as fast as I could, clutching a branch and holding my breath. I expected chaos, blood, violence. But what happened next was beyond belief. The lion didn't attack the crippled wolf. It stopped in front of him and gently dropped the meat by his side. Then, without so much as a roar, it turned and walked away. My heart pounded. The wolf sniffed the meat and began eating like it was the most natural thing in the world. I was stunned. A lion feeding a wolf? In this wild, unforgiving forest? As I sat there high in the tree, my mind raced. What had I just witnessed? Was it a miracle? A message from above? Something inside me whispered, this was no coincidence. Maybe, just maybe, this was a sign that even the helpless could survive. That perhaps the universe, or God, takes care of his creations in mysterious ways. I climbed down, my heart still thudding, and sat beneath the tree, lost in thought. If the wolf, with no way to fend for himself, could be fed by a lion, then maybe I too didn't need to struggle. Maybe help would come. My faith suddenly felt unshakable. That moment felt holy, like I'd been chosen to witness something divine. I smiled to myself and whispered a thank you to the sky. Surely, I thought, this meant that I was also part of God's great plan. If he could take care of that crippled wolf, surely he wouldn't forget about me. With that belief burning in my chest, I stood up and decided I would do the same. I would sit down somewhere quiet and wait. Wait for food. Wait for help. Wait for a sign, because help was coming, wasn't it? I found a quiet spot beneath a wide tree, not far from a small stream. Birds chirped, leaves rustled. It was almost peaceful. I leaned back against the bark and closed my eyes. My stomach growled again, but I hushed it. Have patience, I told myself. The lion came for the wolf. Someone will come for you too. Time passed. Hours turned into a full day. My body ached. Hunger twisted inside me like a snake. But I held on to my faith. Surely any moment now someone would appear. Someone kind, someone generous, someone sent by the heavens above. Another day passed. No one came. No lion, no food, not even a curious squirrel. I hadn't eaten in almost 2 full days and my head spun with weakness. Doubt began to slither into my mind. Had I misunderstood the message? Was I being tested or punished? My body was too weak to move much, but my thoughts wouldn't stop racing. I began to cry, silent tears of confusion and pain. I had believed so deeply, but belief wasn't filling my stomach. Maybe I had been a fool. Maybe I had misunderstood everything. But then I heard footsteps approaching. I turned my head slowly and saw an old man walking along the path. He wore simple robes and carried a wooden staff. Something about him felt different, peaceful, almost glowing. He noticed me lying there and approached with concern. "Son," he said gently, "are you all right?" I barely managed to explain what had happened: the wolf, the lion, my belief, and how I had waited for food. His face remained calm as I finished. He listened with deep patience. I looked at him and asked, if God could feed that wolf, why didn't he send someone to feed me? The old man sat beside me on the ground, placing his staff gently across his lap. His eyes held a strange kindness, like he had seen countless stories unfold in silence. After a moment, he spoke. "You saw a divine sign, yes, but you misread it." I blinked, confused. "Misread it?" I asked. He nodded. "God showed you how he cares for his creations, but he never asked you to be the wolf." His words hit me like thunder. "Then who was I supposed to be?" I whispered. He smiled softly. "You were meant to be the lion, my son." His words echoed in my mind, twisting everything I thought I understood. I had seen the lion as the miracle, but never once had I imagined I was meant to be him. "The lion?" I asked. "But I'm weak, helpless. I've never done anything worthwhile." The old man placed a hand on my shoulder. "You see only your past, but God sees your potential. The lion had strength, yes, but more than that, he had purpose. He gave, even when he didn't have to. That's the miracle you missed." My breath caught. All this time I had chosen the wrong role. The forest around us seemed to shift as his words sank in. The birds sang louder, the wind moved more gently. It felt as though nature itself listened. "You waited for someone to help you," the sage continued, "when perhaps you were born to help others. Maybe someone else is sitting beneath a tree right now, starving, waiting for you." My heart clenched. I had been so focused on being saved, I'd never thought I was meant to save. "But how?" I asked. "I have nothing." He looked up at the sky and said, "You have a story. That's enough to begin." I sat there stunned. My whole life had been about avoiding effort, dodging pain, chasing ease. But now, for the first time, I saw a path, one that asked me to rise, not wait, to become the answer instead of the question. The sage stood and offered me his hand. I took it, slowly pulling myself to my feet. My legs trembled, not just from hunger, but from the weight of a revelation. "Where do I go?" I asked. "Wherever people hunger, for food, for hope, for guidance. Start with one step, one act, the rest will follow," he said gently. So I walked, weak and trembling, but walking. I left behind the tree where I had waited for salvation and entered the world with new eyes. I passed the apple tree I had tried to steal from. I didn't take one this time. Instead, I knocked on the farmer's door and apologized. He stared at me in disbelief, then slowly nodded. "Come in," he said, handing me a crust of bread. My first meal in days. But it tasted different, earned, not begged. As I ate, I felt something shift deep within me. Hunger faded, something else had taken its place. That something was fire, not the fire of destruction, but of purpose. I began helping around the village. Little things at first, sweeping paths, carrying water, offering company to the lonely. People laughed at first, surprised by the change, but slowly their mockery turned into trust. "What happened to you?" they'd ask. I'd smile and say, "I met a lion." It wasn't always easy. My body ached, I got tired, but every act, every kind word, every effort felt like a step toward becoming who I was always meant to be. And strangely, the more I gave, the more life gave back. One day, I saw a boy crying by the river. He had lost his parents and had nowhere to go. I sat beside him, offered my bread, and listened to his story. It felt familiar, painful, raw, filled with hopelessness. I placed a hand on his shoulder and told him my story, not as a lecture, just as truth. His eyes widened, and for the first time that day he smiled. "You think I can be strong like the lion too?" he asked. "Stronger," I said. That boy followed me home. And soon others joined. The lost, the forgotten, we built something new. What we built wasn't a grand palace. It was a small shelter with open doors and warm food. A place for those who had waited too long beneath trees, expecting miracles. I taught them not to wait, but to walk. Not to beg, but to build. Every day, I remembered the crippled wolf and the powerful lion. I never forgot the message I almost misread. God had shown me a plan, but it wasn't about ease, it was about purpose, responsibility, love. That lion hadn't just dropped food. He'd delivered a message: be the one who feeds, not the one who waits. Now, When people call me wise or kind, I smile quietly. I'm neither. I'm simply someone who once misunderstood a sign and was lucky enough to be corrected. I still pass that forest sometimes. I think about that wolf, still crawling, still being fed. But I no longer envy him. I honor him. Because he taught me the hardest truth. Sometimes the lesson isn't in the miracle, but in the meaning behind it. I was never meant to wait. I was meant to act. And maybe, just maybe, you are too. So ask yourself, are you waiting to be fed, or are you ready to feed?